Cause Studio 10, I'm Don G. Welcome back to my channel. So what I want to talk about today is how to become more efficient as a barber. All your appointments are 30 minutes each. No matter what the hairstyle is, no matter what the client is getting, you want to be able to stay in that 30-minute time frame. The best ways to be efficient is do not watch TV. As you're cutting, focus on your task, focus on the haircut, focus on the service. Do not watch any TV, all right? That's one thing that slows up a lot of barbers. A 20-minute haircut takes a whole hour because they're watching TV, they're distracted. So they're not giving all of their attention to their service that they're providing. Try not to speak to your customers when they're in the chair. And I stress that because most clients do not sit still when they're talking. What they're doing is moving their head and yeah man, I went down the street, and they're doing things like that. Or they're shaking their hands and they're moving their hands when they speak. So it's causing their whole body to jerk. So that's gonna mess you up. So now what you're doing is, whenever you're going to cut and you wanna make a movement this big, now you're gonna go this big. Because what happens is, them moving causes you to overcut. Now you're gonna cut further than what your intention was. Now you gotta go back and fix that and readjust the whole fade or taper or whatever. Even your shape up. Now you have to readjust everything just to compensate for that little mishap. So when your clients are in your chair, try not to have conversation with them. Let them sit still, let them relax, and let them enjoy the service. Getting a haircut or coming to the barbershop, it's supposed to be therapeutic for your client. That is the only time men have for themselves, especially when they're working, raising a family, spending time with the children, or doing anything else that takes their time and their energy. So when a man comes to the barbershop, that is his time to relax and decompress. Try to encourage your clientele to show up on time. Again, if they're late, it's gonna put you behind everyone else. And the next guy, it's unfair to him to have to suffer or lose time off of his service because of the previous person before him. If you can get someone in the chair as close to their time slot as possible, that will help. So far we got not watching TV, not speaking when the client is in the chair, and encouraging your clientele to show up on time. Another one we have is don't speak to another barber. When they have clients in their chair, they spend a lot of the time talking to the other barbers, and all kind of silliness goes on, jokes, laughing, etc. And then they wonder why they don't make the money that they should make. Then they wonder why their pockets are light at the end of the day. You don't want that. So when you're working, try to keep your talking to a minimum. If you're going to speak to your client or another barber, you speak to them before you start your service. Once you start the service, dead it. Dead all that unnecessary talking and focus on your mission at hand. Your clippers. A lot of times, the barber will not be efficient enough because of the performance of his clippers. So if your clippers is not performing the way it should, that's going to slow you up. If you're doing a shape up, your shape up is going to take you a lot longer to do than necessary because you're going to have to overwork that clipper and you're going to stress out the client's skin. You know, they're going to feel uncomfortable if like something is wrong if you stay in one spot too long. So that alone takes up a lot of your time. Try to make sure your clippers are performing properly. Before you start your day, prep. Make sure your towels are in the towel machine. Make sure your clippers are clean and oiled. Do everything you need to do before starting your day. And always prep and clean again after each client leaves the chair for the next client. You don't want to stop in the middle of a haircut to go do something that you should have done prior. Say you need to set up your machine or your bowl, your dye bowl, to do your enhancements. You don't want to have to wait till your client is in the chair and halfway through the cut and then you remember, oh shoot, let me go wash my dye bowl. Let me put some fresh dye in the bowl or whatever. You want to do all of that first, then start your service. That will help you stay efficient. There are certain techniques that are faster than others. You never want to seem like you're rushing. You don't want the client to feel like you're rushing on their hair. Learn other techniques that will help you to become more efficient. There are fade techniques, tapers, Caesars, shape-ups, shaving, beards, whatever. There are techniques that are more efficient than others. Now in future videos, I'll be demonstrating some techniques that will save a lot of time. Too many times I see barbers doing a lot of unnecessary steps in their technique. They're doing too many unnecessary movements, or they're going back and forth between guards more than necessary. I like to just use a guard and then be done with it. So if I'm going to use a number 1 guard, I'm going to use it all the way until I don't need it no more. Put it down and never pick it back up again for the remainder of the haircut. Then I move on to the next guard or whatever I'm doing. I don't like to jump back and forth from a 1 guard to a 2, back to a 1, back to a 2, back to a 1.5. It's too much jumping around and it's too many steps and that takes up too much time. Use your guard and be done with it. You don't want to keep repeating guards through the same haircut. What I don't like to see is barbers using multiple clippers on one haircut. So I've noticed a lot of barbers, if they're doing a fade, they're jumping back and forth between 3 adjustable clippers to do the same fade. It's completely unnecessary. Stick to 1 adjustable clipper and complete your task. Do your complete fade with that 1 clipper and then move on to shaping up and all your detail work. Okay? Too much back and forth between guards and different clippers for no reason. It's unnecessary. So that's going to be it for this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Cut Studio 10, I'm Don G.